All right, guys, we got it's a 2012 Polaris Sportsman 400 HO. It needs the belt replaced. You can hear that it's pretty much shredding apart and it's about to fall apart. Basically, the easiest way to do it is you're going to take off your whole footrest here, and you have a bunch of plastic clips holding it in place on the top, and then you have, I think it's like a T25 and then an 11 on the bottom. But to get started, we'll get started with these plastic clips. There'll be another plastic clip on the top here, so we'll... All right, now after the plastic clips, we'll go ahead and get our T27. It's not a T25. And that size 11, I believe, is what it is. It's either 11 or a 10. Our way. All right, and once you get the foot pedal out of the way, it does make it a little bit easier if you get this to move. All right, now once that's done, all of these should be size 10. You will have a connection up here on the top, which is just a flathead. And this is just your intake air tube, your breather tube for your actual... Next step is we have size 10 millimeter. I don't know how many there are. All right, now that they're all loose, you should be able to just simply pull away, clutch cover off. All right, the next step is to take the belt off and do this. I'm simply gonna go, the machine's in neutral. That's the most important thing. You want your secondary clutch to spin freely. This right here, as it spins, is gonna be turning over and creating compression, which is gonna be hard to spin, but you should have a free roller bearing sitting down in here. So you basically take your belt, get it started running off on the bottom side of your actual secondary clutch, and you just turn your secondary clutch and it gets started here. Try to give you a better look. But as you can see, you get it started on the bottom, and then you'll just turn your secondary clutch, and what it does is it just works itself off. And that's the easiest way that I have found to take these clutches off, or I mean these belts off. And you can see, let me see if you can see how glazed it is. See how glazed that is? Just been worn down. Compared to, this is the new belt. Major difference. And you can see how much thinner this belt is. This is the original OEM belt on this machine since it was new. You can see how big of a difference it is. And that's where you're getting a lot of your slippage on this machine whenever it's running. All right. Some of these belts will have a directional symbol to tell you which way it goes. You want that arrow obviously facing forward. So we'll get it started on our primary clutch. Same process of pulling it off as putting it on. You get it started on the very bottom of the secondary clutch, continually turning it over. Turning it. With the new belt, it will be harder than the old belt. Most of the times. Boom. All right. Now the important thing is once you get the new belt on, is you're going to want to continually turn your secondary clutch. And the reason you want to turn your secondary clutch is if your clutch has been compressed to where it's expanded out, your belt will sit too far in, and when you go to start the machine and break in your belt, it'll actually potentially damage your new belt. And there is a break-in procedure to all belts. Most manufacturers have a little bit different idea of what they say that you want, or they say that they want you to do to break it in. Other times they don't even have any instructions to explain to you how to break the belt in. A lot of these belts, they need to be broken in, and what it is you start your machine up, let it sit in neutral, and you let it run. Let your machine warm up to a normal temp. Once it's warmed up to a normal temp, you want to go ahead and you're going to drive roughly about 15, 20 miles per hour, not anything fast, nothing slow in high gear, for roughly 10 to 15 minutes, never going above 3/4 throttle. You let it warm up. After about 20 to 30 minutes of it warming up and the belt getting hot, you let the machine sit, cool itself down to 100, 120 degrees, depending on if it's summer, winter, whatever it may be, and then basically repeat the same process. After you do that, it's going to heat set or heat glaze this belt and make it to where it's going to basically set that belt to your machine and to the clutches, and getting it hot enough and baking it in to where it's not going to have any kind of damage in the future whenever you're running a machine, or it just basically tearing apart on you while you're just trying to drive around and do whatever you're doing. But that's just the basic belt break-in procedure. All right, we'll grab our cover. I gotta take the seat off. Take our cover, pull our plastics back. All right, we got it started on our intake tube there. All right, after that, it's just your tin, size 10. And when you're putting these on, just, if you can notice, these guys right here, they just screw into the plastic. So if you overdo it with a impact drill or just with a wrench, you will destroy your threads and you won't be able to put it back in there. So that's why if I ever do an impact on these guys, I always put it on the lowest setting. All right, now that we have the cover back on, go ahead and grab box. We'll start with the front, not the hardest side to take off. All right, now once that's on, go ahead and start with our bottom floorboards. Our impact. Tighten these guys down. Okay, after that, it's going to be all of our snap clips, all of our plastic clips. Alright, last step is just your plastic. And that's it.